And if you've been liking any of the content on here, just feel free to subscribe. Either way, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Alright, for this Necron list, DaMittens is going to use Hypercrypt Legion. So he's got some Lich Guard with the Translocation Overlord fella. Groups of 3 Ophidian Destroyers, 2 groups of 5 Flayed ones, a Scorpek Lord with 3 Scorpeks. A Scorpek Lord has it so he can Deep Strike. We have a Plasmancer. He has the enhancement so he can put 1 more unit into the Hypercrypt kind of detachment thing, so he can teleport another unit. We have another group of Immortals, and another Plasmancer, and that Plasmancer has the, if he's been brought in that turn, his unit can re-roll his hits. And if it's not brought in, he just re-rolls his hits of 1. 2 units of Heavy Destroyers, and they have the Gauss weapons. And the big bad monolith. So those will be fun. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to kill this thing yet. Imhotep the Stormlord, he's great so far for Cody for getting just CP. He just holds on to the battlefield objective and just farms CP all game. So that is the list. 1990 points total. Alright, so this is the Custodes list that I'm going to be using against the Necrons. It's all infantry. A group of 5 Custodian Guards. I have 2 with shields and then another one with a shield and a Vexilla. And 2 spears. I have Draxus leading them. It's a favorite of mine so far. I have 3 Venatari, so 3 of them with spears. A group of Witchseekers. I have Trajan and his 5 Wardens. They all have spears. 1 has a Vexilla. I have 5 Terminators. They all have spears. And there's a Captain in with them. And the Captain has a enhancement of Ceaseless Hunter, so he can fall back and charge, and he can, if someone gets him with a 9 once per game, he can move 6. It says move 6, but it's their movement, so it's 5 inches. He can only move 5, so you can't move 6, so it's 5 inches. And we have a group of 3 Terminators. They just have spears, and then another group of 3 Terminators. I have the Vexilla just because I didn't have another spear, but it's 3 spears. And then the final thing is the Witchseekers. And that is the list, 2,000 points on the nose. Now let's go from the shelf to the tabletop. Deployment roll. Let's see who deploys first or decides, blah, blah, blah. A 4 and a 4. Ooh, Battle of Wills. Oh. Okay, this is our deployment. So we're going to be deployed with sweeping, or I think it's Crucible Battle was the deployment. So we got the Immortals right there with the Translocation, Speedy Overlord, all the Heavy Destroyers, or a Heavy Destroyer right here, one of the squads. Imhotep, the CP Regeneration Unit. Monolith right there, pretty much ready to take some shots on my girls. Luckily, I might be able to scout them out of there. 3 more Heavy Destroyers. Some Immortals behind the wall here, probably ready to pounce onto this objective. We have some Flayed ones onto this objective. They infiltrated onto there. Cody also infiltrated his Flayed ones towards the middle, not onto the objectives, just so I can't get any overwhelming force or anything like that. So he's on there. And I do believe everything else, he has his Destroyers with his Scorpek Daddy in reserve. And his Ophidian Destroyers are in reserve too, so his 2 units of Ophidian Destroyers. And for the Custodes, pretty much the typical deployment for the year. I have these, the Inquisitor and some Sisters in the corner ready to pounce on this objective. Trajan behind this wall, because I don't want him being all shot up by any of these bad shooting units. I don't want any of that. And I have some Sisters here ready to scout ahead. My 5 Terminators with the Captain and the other 3 unit squad are all kind of bundled together there in a big old group of deaths. A unit of 3 Terminators in reserve and a unit of 3 Vinatari in reserve. We'll see what happens. We'll see who gets first turn. First turn. Ooh. Oh. Necrons go first. The Necrons' first turn cards were Secure No Man's Land and Investigate Signals. And then I scouted the sisters up in here, and then I scouted these sisters back behind the wall just because that monolith would have shot them to death. Alright, real quick shooting phase. The monolith pretty much used its particle whips to particle whip my sisters into pieces. So, we're not going to be doing anything the rest of the game. They're dead, so on to the Custodes turn 1 phase. Since there's not much to do, no charges, no other shots. So, on to Custodes turn 1. Necrons discarded Investigate Signals, and they got 2 points on Secure No Man's Land. My draw for turn 1 for the Custodes, we have Capture Enemy Outpost and Attempting Target. Okay, so on to the movement phase. Pretty quick turn really. I just moved up here. I was able to get Inquisitor Drax's 18-inch lone operative ability off, so I moved up there. Shouldn't be able to get shot by too much. Maybe the monolith. Trajan got advanced to get kind of just outside this building, so he might be able to get shot by some stuff next turn. I didn't really move these fellas here. I want to Golden Light them eventually, or just as a counter, just something in case something gets close. And then I advance these girls to the 6 into this corner just in case I get Investigate Signals and to stop any deep strikes. And I will toss both of these cards because I don't really need them. So I went up to 3 CP and on to the Necrons turn 2. Turn 2 for the Necrons. They got Defend Stronghold and Aerial Denial. Necrons go up to 6 CP and the Custodes are up to 4 CP on Necrons turn 2. Alright, so the Amphibian Destroyers, they just crept up here. They popped through the Deep Strike to hopefully get some charge onto my Inquisitors. The Monolith, it just moved back here just a little bit, just to get some shots onto Trajan. Heavy Destroyers moved over a little bit. Lich Guard kind of moved up some. The Flayed ones also stayed where they were. The Heavy Destroyers moved over a little bit to get some shots onto my Trajan. And then we have the Feeding Destroyers. They pop down here in my back lines, so we have to worry about some charges into my back lines. So we're going to move on to the shooting phase. Turn 2 Necron shooting phase. I got pretty good in my rolls, and Cody got pretty not good. So his particle rays, all the laser beams from this missed, but the little whips or whatever, the devastating wound one, it took out 2 wounds off this Custodian, because I did use the -1 damage just so I could try to negate some of those devastating wounds. He fired his heavy Locust Destroyers into my Wardens, and he only was able to, once again, missed a few of them, and then I saved the 1 wound through. So that's pretty much his shooting phase, so he's going to get some charges here. Alright, so he does make his 9-inch charge back here, so he has the Ophidian Destroyers into my Custodian Guards. And then next ones, same Ophidian Destroyers into the same squad. Both made them both. Ooh, that could be scary. All right, and let's move on to the melee combat phase. I could be in trouble. In turn 2 here, and this melee, I'm going to use the last of my 2 CP for -1 damage. And I'm going to use the kata for -1 to hit to try to survive this onslaught here. Okay, so the end of the Necron turn, I did clap back and kill one of the Ophidian Destroyer squads, but I didn't kill the other one, so I am locked up here, so I won't be able to move on to this objective unless I cheekily fall back onto it or something like that. Got 3 points for aerial denial, and the other one was
Defend Stronghold.
Defend Stronghold. He'll most likely get Defend Stronghold. There's not too much I can do about that. So 3 points for that, and so we're going to go on to my turn 2 for the Custodes. Turn 2, my draw is Secure No Man's Land and Deploy Teleport Homer. Okay. Turn 2, Custodes movement phase. Pretty timid. I fell back away from the squad so I could get onto this objective. I couldn't get them all in there because I had to fall back kind of sideways so I wouldn't have to go through the models and do any desperate breakouts. I did drop down these Alaris Terminators to get some shots onto those Ophidian Destroyers, hopefully clear them out. Move these Sisters up here so I can start golden lighting these Terminators out of this corner. It's kind of a bad place for them because there's so much... There's no cover in front of this here, so if I move out, it's pew-pew, so I should have probably placed those a little better. Trajan moved one of the Wardens onto the middle of here so I can get Secure No Man's Land and deploy Teleport Homer. So that is my turn. I went up to 1 CP, and the Necrons are up to 7. They need to start burning some CP here, so we're going to move on. Necrons turn 3, they got Overwhelming Force and deploy Teleport Homer. The Necron turn 3 movement, they moved a lot of their weaponry up some more. They're shooting to shoot onto my middle objective here. The Monolith moved ahead here to get some shots onto my poor Inquisitor. Heavy Destroyer moved out, shots onto my Wardens. And then I wrap it in. He's been keeping me, even my Deep Strikes, a lot of my Deep Strikes, he's kept me in the back of my zone here. So I put these Venatari back here to hopefully do a few plays next turn. And I do believe the Lichgar moved out some here just to help screen out some more and keep so he can go either side of the building if he needs to. So that's the movement phase, so we're going to go on to the shooting phase. Cody was kind of just making fun of me because I was talking about the dangerous shooty shoots, and I rolled quite well on my saves.
And wasted all your CP.
I did waste all my CP, so I'm out of CP. I used a reroll, which I failed. So I lost one of these guys down here. And then the Heavy Destroyers, each of them got a lethal wound through, but then the rest of them kind of missed. And then I got 2 saves on my Wardens from both of these fellas, so both the Heavy Destroyers. So my Wardens are surprisingly still alive. We're moving on to turn 3 for the Custodes. Did you get any Overwhelming Force and deploy Teleport Homer? Yeah, these guys here could have probably gotten you so many points this game. These guys could have just kind of popped out and went, deploy Teleport Homer.
So yeah. No, it doesn't center.
So, yeah, so you don't actually need to control it, so you could actually just move these guys, even if I had controlled it, and just trying to... Do you want to do that instead? Okay. That is it. So he's going to discard both of his cards. DaMittens here. And we're going to move on to Custodes turn 3. Right now, the score, I do believe, is like 28-10. So let's see what happens. So my cards for turn 3 Custodes, we have Overwhelming Force. We'll see. And bring it down. For my movement, I just kind of moved up here to get on this objective. I don't think I'm going to do anything other than just holding on to it. I can stay here just to hold on to this. I keep forgetting, which is probably might cost me the game. I keep on forgetting to golden light all these Terminators down here. I moved my Venatari up here to hopefully get some charges on here. So I have a few plans, but we're behind in the points. It is 20-28. So let's see what happens. For the movement phase, these guys are still in the back, just screening me out, as well as over here. The flayed ones and the Lich Guard moved up to hopefully kind of keep me from pushing ahead here. Flayed ones are still sitting there. And then the Heavy Destroyer pulled back just a little bit. Pop down with Deep Strike, the Deep Strike ability they have. So we're going to be having that come down on me. So that is the end of the turn, or the end of the movement. So onto the shooting phase. The Monolith once again bounced off the Inquisitor squad. And the little shot from the Daddy Murder Crab bounced off them well. He did lose 2 Venatari, so that's kind of not the best, but other than that, not too bad. So we're going to have the charges. We're going to have Scorpec Destroyers are going to charge into my Inquisitor. So he needs a 9. That's an 8.
Spend the CP.
Spending the CP since he's just swimming in them. A 6. Doesn't make it. Cody is discarding both his cards. So he didn't score any for his secondaries, but he did score some for the primary. So the score is 38-20 for the Necrons going into turn 4 Custodes. The end of the Necrons' turn, I actually remembered to Golden Light these 3 out here. I have some ideas and plans for these fellas, so I'm going to keep them there. So I'm going to go on to turn 4. Turn 4 for my draw is Investigate Signals and no prisoners. So I will spend the 1 CP I got to throw away Investigate Signals, because that is terrible. So I used my 1 CP, threw it away for Investigate Signals. So let's get Defend Stronghold. Much better. Then I passed my Battle Shock with this Venatari. For my movement phase, I just moved these Terminators over here to hopefully get a charge onto these Scorpec Destroyers. I pushed everything up here. I wanted to spend, since I didn't fail Battle Shock, a CP to bring a guy back for Venatari, but I failed my advance with a 1, so I had to re-roll that so I could get these Terminators onto this objective so I could start leaving with Trajan's unit. I brought Golden Light up here just to hopefully get a charge or some more shots so it doesn't kind of get into my lines and cause me to lose more points. So that is the movement. Pretty quick. Oh, and I made a nice little L here to hopefully stop any deep strikes. It's in my movement and onto the shooting phase. So my shooting phase, not bad. I did kill all the Scorpec Destroyers, but then Cody used a stratagem just so he could pick the Scorpec Lord up and put him anywhere near a monolith. So he moved over here. My shooting was over here, not too bad. I did kill the flayed ones, but that's about it. So let's see if these charges make it actually. The Venatari, they make it in with the 10, so that's pretty easy. So he's just going to smash through the wall. Land right here. Trajan squad. That's a 5, so they will make it in with a 5. And then we are going to use, which is what I want, because I don't want to get off that objective, so a 5 is pretty good. And then we're going to have these fellas into the Scorpec Destroyers here. So I need a pretty high one. A 10. 10 will do it. Terminators make the charge into the Heavy Destroyers. So we're going to go on to the combat and see what happens. At the end of the turn, I was able to pretty much wipe out this side of the board. The Lich Guard are still there, but I took out Destroyers. Cody did heroically intervene his flayed ones into me just to try to kind of gum me up here, but Trajan took care of them. I didn't charge anything down here. The score is 38-35. I scored 5 points for no prisoners, but I'm going to toss... No, and I have Defend Stronghold, so we'll see if I complete that or not. So on to Necron's turn 5. Behind enemy lines and extend battle lines. All right. On to the movement. Movement phase was pretty quick. The Infantry Destroyers kind of dropped out of Deep Strike here, tunneled up to hopefully get some charges onto the Wardens. The Immortals moved here to get some shots onto my Venatari, and the Scorpec Daddy has moved up here to hopefully get some charges onto the Inquisitor. Brought back a Heavy Destroyer and a Lich Guard with the Resurrection Protocols. I'm at 1 CP, and we're going to go on to the shooting phase. This is turn 5 shooting phase for the Necrons. The shooting phase for turn 5, 1 Custodian Guard and the Inquisitor left. The Heavy Destroyers did kill a Terminator over here. That is the end of turn 5 for the Necrons. The score is 48-35. Trajan was able to pick up the Lich Guard. We pretty much bounced off each other here. They did 1 wound to the Venatari, and then I only killed 1 Immortal. So everything else is kind of sitting there, and then I don't think I'm going to Golden Light anything. So let's go on to Custodes turn 5. Turn 5 draw for the Custodes. We have Engage in all fronts. That's doable. And then assassination. Kill some characters. So we're going to go on to turn 5 movement, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so I made a lot of my charges. Turn 5 went pretty good for the Custodes, so I was able to get engaged in all fronts in assassination. My shooting was able to kill the Scorpec Lord. We're kind of cleaning up here now. We're just going to go over that thing. But I was able to charge onto this objective, cleaning up the Immortals, and score. It's a very close game. I do believe the score was 66 to 53. So very close. Cody's getting better and better. I was kind of worried for a lot of this game. If I didn't decide in turn 4 to start pushing so hard, if I kind of sat back a little more, he would have won because he was just kind of able to pin me into my corner. This was a close game and a good learning experience for both of us. I don't think Cody's going to stay with the Hypercrypt. With the setup Cody has, he has a lot of CP to play with, and this detachment, there just wasn't a lot for him to use. Like the Canoptic Court, he can burn the CP for devastating wounds all the time, so I think we're going to throw some more practice games for that. So I think next time we're going to try the World Eaters versus the Necrons, just to give them some practice against them, and myself, so I know what's going on with the World Eaters. Since we have this tournament, we're going to go up and represent our town throughout. So final score, 66 to 53, and thanks for stopping by.